96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day. The views and opinions of the hosts and guests are their own and do not necessarily reflect the position of the management and staff of Guardian Network.
Civil servants, let's go! Hey! Oh yes! This one's for you. Go! They turn up my water, turn up my light, 'cause little bit of rain did come down last night. So I dial a certain number, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The phone just keep on ringing, man, them people full of jive. Now I'm one of them people who like to complain, but when I went down to the office, they try and make me shame. They had with 8 men round a hole, only one man waking, the rest I'm fool. Where you going, baby? Down the road. Who you waiting for? Them and them. What you just do? Sit around. What you waiting for? Baby. Who gave you that job? What time you wake stop? What time you get off? Anytime. What time is it now? Let's go! Woo! Yes, man! Go to work! Get to work! Oh, shucks! Woo! Man, you know what to do. I drive in my Volkswagen when fella run the light. Call road traffic down morning, they get dead at night. Just as I pull off, police block up the street. Man, them getting feel up, the women going free.
Good yawning this morning and welcome back to Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, your station for fresh news, smart talk all day. It is Wednesday, the 14th of August, 2024, and you are on the clock with Erin, Greene, and I am glad to be back. If it's a Wednesday, that means it's a Man Down Mashup Wednesday, where we combine On the Clock and Guardian Radio AM to talk about what's in the news. Mr. Nuri's not here yet. I think I heard that he was leading a search party to come and find me. But I told Mr. Nuri I was on a journey. I was on a journey to audacity. In fact, I was trying to breakdance my way to France to see if I could get an appointment with the illustrious Dr. Gunn, Ray Gunn, to those in the breakdancing community. And I, unfortunately, did not qualify to enter France. However, I'm going to try and make my way to Australia so I could speak with Dr. about her breakdancing career. I thought that that was perhaps one of the most interesting, if not entertaining, moments of the 2024 Paris Olympics. I'd like to talk about that a bit this morning, but we've got lots to talk about, including the 2024 Southport riots taking place in London. I heard in London, in Britain, the UK, they're still trying to quell and calm the protesters. It's very interesting, some of the headlines. UK riots expose double standards on far-right and Islamist violence, and more than 1,000 arrested following UK riots, police say. But we've got lots of local stories, and then I guess who was returned from the search party. Good morning, Mr. Nuri.
Good morning this morning. It's good to see you sitting in your chair. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
That is good. That's
Somebody tell me, you tell the people like Duck Wake to go to Fox Hill Day.
I looked for you at Fox Hill. You weren't there.
No, I was trying to make my way back into the country. I went to go and try find Dr. Ray Gunn, Dr. Gunn.
Oh,
the breakdancer.
the dancer.
Yeah.
I want to discuss it because I think it's an example of white privilege for what happened. And of course, people will say, why would you bring in race into this argument? Now, the best of the best went to the Olympics. I assume that's what happens, right?
Right.
You have some preliminary strategies you got to go through in order to qualify. This lady represented an entire country, supposed to have a PhD in it. And if she's at a Q grade, BGCSE have all the different letters. I don't know if she was the last letter, but if she's at a G grade in a BGCSE system, lettering system, I would say that would be too high. It was clearly she had no clue, did not care. She did not care about the Olympics. She did not care about the qualification. She did not care about the culture of breakdancing, the history of it. She belittled the entire craft. And the idea that Australians have not ostracized her for it and is now heralding her as a pulp hero tells a tale about how they see us, how they see the culture, how they see the Olympics, how they see people of color and their historic cultural nuances. And that needs to be exposed, that needs to be explored, and she needs to be condemned. You don't do that to people. Can you imagine there was a hacker competition at the Olympics? Right,
like cyber tech hacker or taxi hacker.
You know, the hacker like the indigenous people of that South Seas type thing, where they it's a
the New Zealand. So you're talking about the ritual performance
Yes.
of the New Zealand athletes use before events. You see it most particularly in the rugby.
Yes, and then if you go
competition.
predate that, it will be a religious performance, a
Right.
reverence performance, war chant that they would have used in ancient times, right? Imagine that we as people adopted their hacker, and instead of saying, "Okay, I'm going to learn the craft properly," I'm going to do it first of all. I'm going to learn what it means, the historical nuances of it, and then when I perform with reverence, but I'm going to perform it still. And then either if you go on the big scale, the big scene, big stage, and then you make a complete buffoonery of it, someone needs to complain. Someone needs to complain and bring this lady down from the pedestal that Australians seem to be putting her on and humble her.
Well, people have been complaining, and it has prompted responses from high-level Australian political figures and social figures, including, I think, their premier, like their president or the prime minister.
Okay.
And the prime minister, the statement that I saw from him was just amazing. He likened, there's a statement here. Here we go. Prime Minister Anthony Albanese even offered up his support to Gunn, a cultural studies academic at Sydney's Macquarie University. Quote, "It's an Australian tradition of people having a go. She's had a go representing our country, and that's a good thing." Mm-hmm. He said, Gunn lost all 3 round-robin battles, 18-0, 18-0, 18-0, against the US, France, and Lithuania, respectively, at the Paris Olympics. Her unique style of breaking, since going viral on social media, fans also mocked Gunn's uniform and Australian Olympic tracksuit, which stood out among her competitors who wore mostly streetwear. I'm looking for a particular quote where the Prime Minister essentially says, and she pulled from the things around her, including a kangaroo. Mm-hmm. And I thought that's accurate. That part is accurate. She obviously...
The Prime Minister is creating a narrative. It's a typical European narrative, a colonizer narrative, that we did it because we can. And for that, we need to be celebrated, right?
Yes.
We're demeaning everything because everyone else is inferior, right? So my interpretation of it is now trumps all of your activeness of trying to become at a particular level and criteria. My effort, small that it may be, trumps your professionalism.
Actual performance.
Yes, your actual performance.
Here's a quote from an article, Ray Gunn, the Australian breakdancer in the Olympics Explained. That's in Forbes magazine. First, misconception number 1. They're telling us these are our misconceptions. This is what Olympic breaking looks like.
What?
The beauty of breaking lies in its freedom of self-expression. Among all the Olympic sports, breaking has perhaps the most opportunity for creativity. At the same time, there's a sky-high ability. Look at the performances of the medal winners, Amy, Nika, and 671. That's Nicka, Nika. You'll see more gravity-defying dynamic sequences that you can throw a shoe at. On the other hand, there's Ray Gunn's approach. See, even there, like you are validating her performance, right, by calling it her approach and suggesting that that's adequate.
Women liberals have a term called mansplaining. When a woman and man have a debate on equal footing. And then as the woman tried to attempt to explain herself, the man raises his voice and say, basically, you don't know what you're talking about because you're a mere woman. Let me explain this to you because this is not your expertise.
That's what's implied. He doesn't actually say that. Yeah, I speak in and I'm describing something.
I'm helping you.
Yeah.
So you can catch up.
Yeah.
You ain't no professional. Like a man explains this to you, right? They are mansplaining a craft that we created, right?
To us. Yeah.
No. This is breaking. What you've been doing for decades and in terms of the craft is not important. I am now redefining you, and that you must
because
now.
You don't understand yourself.
You don't understand yourself.
Which makes your critique makes sense when you realize that her day job is technically lecturing on dance and gender politics at Macquarie University. So here's something that I've read multiple times, but I have not seen verified in global North media, right? Is that she formed herself, like she was a part of the creation of the governing mechanism for Australia to determine who was going to the Olympics on Australia's behalf. So people are alleging that she, the competition, by allowing herself, right, by not rescinding her participation, allowing herself to be a part of the governing mechanism that decided who the qualifiers were for the competition.
I will go as far as she's an exploiter, right?
Well, I think it's fair to say that this is the perfect example of modern day colonization and gentrification.
Yes, and I'll go to as far as she will make millions now off her mockery. And then white Australians will come to her aid and now solidify her wealth, saying that she is one of us.
Right.
But imagine the people who do cultural studies in terms of studying African tribes. And they say they become proficient in the African tribe.
So they could call themselves African.
They could call themselves African now. So no, this is how the Maoris do it. This is how the Igbos do it. And now I am an official Igbo because I've studied it.
Because I'm an Igbo expert.
Yes.
Because I had the privilege to be able to go to a university that offered African studies. And I had the privilege to extend my academic career to the point where I could get a PhD in academic studies and declare myself an African by virtue of my academic qualifications.
Let me localize this for you. In a few weeks, when I say 1-2 weeks, there's going to be an international Junkanoo festival.
So I heard.
Collaboration. Let me say the word again. International Junkanoo Festival. Right? In collaboration, where all Junkanoo artists from around the world will venture, make a pilgrimage to Canada, right? Where they will explore Junkanoo, the history of Junkanoo, explain the origin of Junkanoo. The Bahamas was not invited. The Bahamas was not invited because the Africans, and it's Africans who are organizing it, has a disagreement with the origin of Junkanoo, which is cool. I have no problem with that. The issue what I have with them is they came here and took pictures of our Junkanoo and using the image of our Junkanoo to sell.
To promote the festival that they did not invite us to.
That's my problem. I don't care you don't want us coming though, because they say we don't need you to endorse us, to give us credence. Junkanoo belongs to us already. But the idea that you came to the Bahamas and take our craft, use our images, then exclude us from your organization, I find flippant. And this is the same thing happened to this Australian doctor lady.
Listen, there's a call. And when we come back from the call, I can let you know, I was tired of the breaking competition even before it started. And I want to share with you the commentary that alerted me to, I don't know what we're going to call it. We can call it a federation. A cacophony. Federation is like a mix-up, right? To this mix-up we call in breaking in the Olympics. Good morning, caller.
Morning, morning. How y'all doing?
Good, thank you. How are you?
Welcome back, Erin. This is Chris Davis, John Canoe II here.
Blessings, blessings. Thank you.
Yeah, and hello, brother. CA, of course. You know how it goes, brother.
Blessings.
I just wanted to comment on this so-called International John Canoe Festival, right? I actually know the person and people who are actually behind it.
Okay.
And they actually, just to put it frankly and speak plainly, they actually fight my idea, which is the World John Canoe Festival, right?
Right.
And I met the person that's behind it, and I'm the one that even introduced and explained to him this global concept. I'm explaining them about cultural heritage tourism and all of these things, right? To do here locally in the Bahamas, but for many reasons, and our lack of, though it is increasing, but our still very much lack of interest in everything culture and heritage and African in the Bahamas. But essentially, I had to even warn many people because this event, if you follow it, has been postponed about 3 or 4 times, right? And the people behind this event are highly untrustworthy. And of course, you could notice that not any Bahamians are involved because, to be real, it is actually just an aggressive act to appropriate our culture. And one of the reasons this has been able to happen is because of people's lack of acceptance and ignorance to the fact of where John Canoe actually comes from. And this also all sort of surrounds the research and the books and the papers that I've been writing surrounding John Canoe, where people have been taking it and trying to use it. And it's a small group of people, and it's actually based in Canada as well. And like you say, not only are there no Bahamians, there are no true John Canoe practitioners. Even when you look at people from Belize, people from North Carolina, and those that still practice in the Maroon communities in Jamaica, none of these people are really represented there. And for me, not only, and I'm not just speaking personally because of my, of course, frustration of people blatantly stealing my ideas. And I know both of you, and so if you all wanted me to expound on it, I could even let you all see the meeting that I had it with this guy that's behind this so-called International John Canoe Festival, and you could even see the way that they spell it. Everyone has spelled John Canoe differently, but they're using the Bahamian spelling.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? So I just wanted to interject on that, not to apologize if I knock the topic off track a little bit, but I just thought that it is imperative that I call in personally, and as you all do, who, always working on behalf of Bahamian people, and you could hear it on the radio, I just thought that I should come in and make that comment so that people could actually be aware of the fact that there are people out there who are aggressively seeking to profit from our culture.
Without our inclusion.
Without our involvement, and while we also remain to not fulfill the potential that we can locally and internationally from our culture. But thank you for letting me drop my 5 cents.
Just before you go, Chris, man, we got an ace in the hole. When people are playing plantation games, you got to play the game better than them. We got the Smithsonian on our side.
Yeah, right.
And so as opposed to going there and fighting them, right? And fighting for their acknowledgement, their gaze, their acceptance, right? We just do our own thing. Not only do we have the Smithsonian on our side, but we have the infrastructure to host large international conferences on the ground in a small island developing state. And we have the attraction of the geography to go with it, right? So what I say in this instance is the way to defeat your enemy is to make them obsolete.
Oh, yeah. Right.
At the same time, it shows us the importance of acknowledging the rules of culture. You can't just say that this is mine because this is my culture. You have to show that this is your culture by constantly displaying how and why it is yours.
Right.
We have to take control of John Canoe. Thank you very much, Chris.
Yes. And just one, like I alluded to earlier, particularly with this group, I'm not really looking for that acknowledgement because like I said, I know some of these people, and I know, it's the reason why I don't work with them at all anymore or associate with them anymore. And so, but at the same time, you're 100% right. This is something that we have to claim, and also acknowledge its global significance. And my research continues to show that the Bahamas is even central to John Canoe and its movements to North Carolina and to other places in the Caribbean, though they don't have an official practice in those areas anymore, right?
Yes.
But yeah, certainly, man, and it's something that we have to really take seriously. And I would actually discourage publicly anybody from participating in that because I hate to admit it, but they are not really that trustworthy, and this is why it's been postponed so many times. This is why me myself has distanced myself from those people as far as I possibly could. And I have been attempting to do my own thing, and I'm sure, I hope I have some people's brains going by putting this whole thing about the World John Canoe Festival out there, but it has to be done in the right way, and it has to be done where those of us who particularly continue to practice are certainly involved, not only in its education, but in its display. Thanks. I can hang up now.
Absolutely. Thank you very much. I have a text here that says we gave our John Canoe Museum to the port and called it a wonderful achievement. I'm not surprised. And we're trying to turn John Canoe into carnival when we have John Canoe boggles the mind. I think we gave our John Canoe to tourism long time. And that's a part of the problem.
And one must appreciate that Ministry of Tourism and Ministry of Culture are two different ministries with two different agendas, right? Two different budgets. Yeah, to promote the Bahamas and to make money of in quotes of the exploitation, and culture is something different, which we're still trying to
mold together.
But let's see what is their goal.
I appreciate the spirit, right? We don't have to say to tourism hands off John Canoe, but there has to be a symbiotic relationship. There has to be a balance between the desires and the outcome or the goals of tourism and the desires and the goals of culture in terms of ministerial work and policy creation. There would be no tourism without culture. For there would be nothing for the people to come and see. There would be no difference, right? And so then it distills the argument or distills the image till you realize that it appears as if those who have the most momentum in tourism think it is sufficient to just sell sun, sand, and sea without the Bahamian experience, Bahamian culture, and Bahamian interaction. To the point where I think it's important enough to say this right now. We need to have public policy dialogue about AI and the advancement of technology in the tourism industry. Because one thing that cannot happen in the Bahamas is AI and robots taking over human jobs.
And I hear you, and I appreciate that. And that perhaps that conversation should happen soon.
Yeah.
Right? However, one, we must do some introspection, some interrogation of the Ministry of Culture. Whether Ministry of Culture is adequate, whether they are serving the Bahamian economy, right? Let's separate Ministry of Tourism. Let's separate Gombe, Ministry of Tourism. Let's separate Regatta, that's Ministry of Agriculture.
Yeah,
Regatta.
Agriculture and Marine Resources.
Now let's speak about what is it that Ministry of Culture is doing.
Well, first of all, we don't even have a Ministry of Culture.
What do you mean don't have a Ministry
We have
of
a
Culture?
Ministry of Youth, Sports, and Culture.
Yeah.
And culture is right at the end. In the ingredients, when you look on the back of food items and they have the ingredient list, they listed in order of largest volume. So the ingredient that takes up the most space is at the top. And the ingredient that's least, takes up the least space, is at the bottom. That's why they say youth, sports, and culture. Culture gets the least. They're only a division. They're not even a department.
And I reminded of that, and this is when you start heralding those cultural ambassador from Ministry of Culture who comes on our show, right, and say, well, we're doing this and we're doing that, and we're going to commend them. I want to make sure that I acknowledge
they work
you.
like a ministry, but with the resources of a division.
It's like about 12 of them, and they work. We know they work, but in terms of the ministry doing big things, competing with
creating the
tourism and concept,
right.
ain't happening.
Not at all. And we need to focus on that sorely. Like, that is the space in which we guarantee Bahamian participation in the tourism product. right? At culture. We need a ministry of culture. And there can be divisions within that ministry of culture.
We now have a number of new tours on Bay Street. Mm-hmm. The tours would one would assume the tours are culture oriented, but it's tourism oriented.
Yeah.
It doesn't have anything to do with Ministry of Culture or Bahamian culture. It's about making money and making sure the economics trickle down to Bahamians.
And why isn't there a division of culture in the Ministry of Tourism? Right? They certainly have the budget for it. They could afford it. It's between culture and tourism. That's the way you maintain a symbiotic balance. Hey, tourism, what we're going to need is for you to fund and pay for, right, staff that will be, seconded from Division of Culture in Youth Sports and Culture to the Division of Culture in Ministry of Tourism.
And I know we got about to change topics, but since we talk about tourism, I like talking about tourism and culture, right? Remember we were bulldozing buildings and
On Bay Street?
On Bay Street to make space for green spaces?
Well, no.
Go ahead.
No, we were bulldozing dilapidated buildings.
Yeah.
There was the suggestion that it's possible that maybe those spaces would be turned into green spaces.
So what else is
But
on
let
there?
me tell you, there was no guarantee. So, but people, what you mean with it could be new?
What it could be?
People waiting to build high-rise condo. They waiting. See, this is what frustrates me most. Is they stenching. Everybody's stenching to get the best advantage for them. Right? Everybody's stenching. Even the government stenching against its own citizens.
I am prepared to wait because I understand people in their personal properties. I understand commerce. I understand economics and stuff like that. Right? Capitalism. I understand that. However, in the meantime, I'm talking about in the meantime in the space, that dash between numbers. Right? You tell me all these artisans we have who still looking for spaces because they're there and they make a makeshift space now all over Bay Street, make it look like a shanty town because they're looking for spaces to get access to tourists. We now, Ministry of Tourism, have created I didn't say space. They created a vacuum space, and no one thought, say, hey, let me create this open lot that we have made vacant to say, okay, let me make a temporary space.
Here's the problem. The artists can't make that decision on their own unless they go and occupy
I talk about the tourism officials.
But I mean, we talked about that for over a year consistently, what these spaces could be used for. They also stenching. See, because their, I think, focus is extracting tax revenue. What project will produce the most tax revenue? You can't be seen to be overtaxing your citizen resident artists and cultural actors. You can't be seen to be doing that. They stenching. They stenching. It's so unfortunate.
But who's to blame? I mean,
We are
say
to
they
blame.
stench it.
I can tell you, we the people are to blame. We're to blame.
So
because we also stenching.
So we could do an Occupy Bay Street and say, man, this is open lot now made available. I'm going to bring a table and create all these artisans we have. We can create a space, a attractive space where tourists feels free, and create a new market, an open air market that can walk in.
I say
get
do it.
access
I say do it. I tell you why. Because
you notice that immigrants does these things. They come in the Bahamas and they say, man, this is a vacant space. I'm going to do a what do they say?
No, not immigrants. I want you to think about this for a second.
Go ahead.
People with an immigrant mindset.
Okay.
Because here's why. A lot of the people you see are Bahamians who have returned home with their immigrant mindset from their time abroad, whether the U.S., Canada, or Europe. Right? It's an immigrant mindset and not the immigrant themselves. The immigrant, local, is far more concerned with avoiding the hands of the law. Right? And so it's not the same level of audacity. What you're seeing is Bahamians with an immigrant mindset. It's not a negative necessarily. It's not a negative mindset.
I understand.
But it is one where you can't stop because you have a goal, and that goal is paramount, right? And you've got obligations. And in the absence of support, instructions, directions, you're going to do what you got to do to make it work.
So we need more immigrant mindset, you say?
We do need more immigrant mindset. Absolutely.
And if we had the immigrant mindset, we would have occupied those vacant lots, which was made available by Ministry of Tourism,
Right,
by bulldozers and all these
but we
dilapidated
wouldn't
buildings.
have. We wouldn't. I mean, just make it clear. It's not an idle occupation, right? It's not just like when we come in to sit here with our tents and our buckets, our waste buckets, right? We're not just going to sit here and make the place uncomfortable until you agree with our demands. The idea is that you occupy it with your product. You just keep working. You just keep doing what you're doing in the space.
Do you believe we have Bahamian artisans who can beautify that open lot and create a environment where Bahamian craft builders, resellers can have a safe environment where tourists say, "Hey, I want to go there. I want to go down this alley because it's pretty. It's pink. It's fluorescent in color, and they have all kind of artifacts I want to buy." You believe that we have talented people here in the Bahamas who could do that?
Yeah. So here's what it is.
It can be.
We have artisans that can create the product, the things to create the space. The issues are slightly nuanced. One is, do we have people that understand how to curate a space? Right? And facilitators that know how to identify the value in what the artists produce and how to extract even more value from it by using it to curate a space and create an experience. And when you get into top tier curators, they curate a space that enables individuals to have an individual experience, right? That your personal perspective in this space creates an experience that's unique to you. So you don't have 100 people coming in at one time and they all having the same experience.
Tourism now get 2% from cruise ships, whatever they negotiated, how much millions 2% pan out to be to reinvest in that Bay Street product, right? It's been announced. I'm not sure what happened to the money, right? So you saying that we may have to hire a creator for each open spot to say, hey, you are responsible for the look, the feel, the ethos of a typical area?
For it to work really well, yes, right? Each space needs a person who is dedicated to that space. But at the same time, they need to be able to go to the other spaces, right? Like they need to be a part of an ecosystem. So I run you see Victoria Avenue. I think is it Victoria Avenue where the old RBC used to be?
Yes.
Where that Spicy Club is now?
I know where our old RBC is Victoria Avenue.
Right, bang. So one building east of that was the hub.
Okay.
Art gallery, fine artisan space.
Yeah.
Wednesday night, we'd have an artistic event there, right? And there's this big open parking lot that stretches behind the property. They open up the wall, right? Stretches all the way back. So the person that manages that space, right? It's imperative that they be able to not just access the other spaces, but space is created for those managers, curators to speak to each other. So that you're not just curating this singular experience in this space, you understand the other spaces, and so you're creating a collective experience where you hope that your cruise guests will visit at least 3 of these different creative spaces in one day.
And I know that's on a walking path to Atlantis. So we know tourists
Walking
pass,
east, right?
They're walking east. But who is the spearhead? So will this be Ministry of Tourism or Ministry of Culture? Because culture means it's us.
So culture,
and tourism means for them.
Culture spearheads, tourism pays, because tourism benefits from it, and then they collect the tax, right? Like they're the ultimate revenue benefiters, and they
beneficiaries.
Beneficiaries. This all that like insurance and thing. You gotta have
Yeah.
money to know them words.
Yeah.
So I got a text that says, is there even a Ministry of Sports being mindful of the 2024 Olympics? I'd be mindful of a date coming up in 2025.
On Friday,
darling.
would you critique the Olympics? Because it's been a week now. It's been not been a week yet since the Olympics over. How long?
4 days, maybe.
I know Jamaica is now doing a critical analysis of what went wrong for them in quotes, and that's what they call it. What went wrong for them?
Yeah.
And I'm not even sure if our Olympic team came home. Because we have fanfare. I don't know where they are. If they all went to college or if they're still vacationing, I don't know where they are, right? And no explanation, no report from the BOC, no report from the B3As, no report from Ministry of Sports regarding our Olympic team. I just don't know what is happening. I'm asking, I'm baiting you that you have a post-analysis of what went well, what went well wrong, and what is the future. Is there any sports entity, sports machinery, whose job it is, or who decided to accept this job, say, hey, I'm doing a critical analysis devoid of emotions. Like, I'm not trying to say I got to appease this one or don't hurt this one feeling. The goal is to have the Bahamas move, or to have the Bahamas understand what happened, not say what went wrong, what happened, and what we need to do in the next 4 years to get to the next level.
I'm hoping so. Yeah. And then I have SANX, the I think second esports league or federation in the country, to talk about the Olympics and the analysis, right? In particular, to respond to Dr. Christian Campbell's call for the resignation of the entire BOC, Bahamas Olympic Committee. I said last week, the fact that there's breaking in the Olympics and we didn't know there was breaking in the Olympics, I think
perhaps we could have pushed out that Australian woman.
Yeah,
That's how they even qualified.
I could be honest with you. You could send Perry Christie as team leader with any dancer in the Bahamas.
Even Human Minnis could have out-danced that lady.
Absolutely.
And we saw how he dances.
Absolutely. But like I say, just before we transition to some local news, I heard commentary pre the breaking events by an individual that was identified as a breaking expert. And I want to be honest with you, I almost punch a hole in my TV.
Why you punch a hole?
Because this gentleman, first of all, he kind of threw shade at the presenter for calling it breakdancing. First of all, I mean, threw real shade. Like, I'm going to forgive you because of your age, but it's called breaking. This me now, born in 1976, who watched Break-In 1, Break-In 2, Enter the Dragon, and it was always called breakdancing.
Oh, I know it was breakdancing.
The second point was...
But see, that's a hint. They said, this what you think this is, in you already own this.
Right.
This is our things. This is something new.
It gets better because this breaking expert indicated to the international audience that the movie Flashdance made breaking popular.
My Lord.
We got to go to the break. Because we break in properly. Thank you, producer.
They had
You guys...
breaking and Flashdance?
Of course they didn't. I watched it 700 times, but I can't remember right
I
now.
don't remember they
We got to
jumping
go
up.
to a break.
Yeah,
When we
let's go
come
to a
back
break.
from the break, I can remember what I saw in Flashdance.
I remember no breaking.
I just need something fat, something built like a truck, something that I could rub. People came from
Attention Bahamas. Embark on an inspiring voyage with 2 new books by Hubert Ingram, Our Remarkable 3-Time PM. Learn of his exceptional leadership in steering the nation through local and international storms. These books are a treasure for all Bahamians. Are you into history or seeking inspiration? Then this is a must-read. Available at Doongal and Chapter 1. Get your copies today. Be inspired by a legacy of wisdom and vision.
Love the show? Want to give your support? Become a sponsor today. Call 302-2300 for our rates and packages. That's 302-2300. Become a sponsor on Guardian Radio 96.9 FM. Fresh news, smart talk, all day.
Yes! Come on! Rick and scrap time, come on! Woo! Bohemian culture! Every Andrew Scrap Fest, they deserve contest. Out of all the island people, them who can dance the best. Now you know, I forgot. I just need something fat, something built like a truck, something that I could rub. People came from Hatchet Bay, they came from the rocks, they came from Cooperstown, some gal from the bluff. We ain't dancing no bogle, no dirty.
Good morning and welcome back to On the Clock with Erin Greene on this Man Down Mashup Wednesday session where we combine both On the Clock and Guardian Radio AM. So, was breakdancing in the movie Flashdance. It appears as if lots of people were searching the same thing. And here's what I found. Her main dance double, and that's from Flashdance, the main lead. Her main dance double is the French actress Marine Jahan, while the breakdancing that Alex performs in the audition sequence at the end of the film was doubled by the male dancer Crazy Legs. Let me just say that movie is not what brought breakdance into popular to popular collective consciousness. It's Break Into, Enter the Dragon, and I'm sure there are lots more other movies. But breakdancing was created by African American and Latino, so we say all African descent youth, young people in inner city communities, primarily New York City, New York boroughs, right? That's where it originated. That's its root. But Mr. Nuri, I wanted to talk a bit about the 2024 Southport riots, but I think we're going to talk about that at 8. Here are some local stories that had me thinking over the weekend, and they kind of tie into some of the stories that are in today's paper. For instance, when I see this headline in the Tribune and the Guardian headline, Hannah Martin defends school repair program. In the Tribune, school repair work underway on all islands. I found this article, Harbor Island residents come together to bring fire at school under control. This was from Monday. Today is Wednesday the 14th. Monday the 12th. Debris from demolished buildings at the Harbor Island All-Age School caught fire on Friday, prompting a frantic effort from the community to stabilize the blaze and prevent it from spreading throughout the school. Stephen Wilson, the Family Island administrator for the North Eleuthera District, said some buildings at the school were demolished on Friday and workers had worked to remove the debris. Residents are uncertain whether the fire was started accidentally, but believe it began under the rubble. There were makeshift water hoses coming from a water tanker and the fire truck. Mr. Wilson said people were using their golf carts with buckets and containers with water to help fill the tanker. Water hoses were used by neighbors nearby. We were lifting the buckets. The children and all that smoke were helping to secure their school. The ladies brought bottled water and masks for the volunteers. He continued, it was incredible to see how the people came together to save their school. Our second homeowners were also there fighting the blaze, right? And so I thought that was an important story. It also leads us into the protests that took place on Harbor Island in recent days. Good morning, caller.
And Erin, Greene.
Good morning, how are you?
I'm fine, and good morning to Nuri. I hope you enjoy your family union.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I when people say you're missing an action. I say no, Erin and the family having fun.
I am.
Unionized, and I appreciate that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, I know. Good morning, Nuri. Can't hear Nuri, but a lot of questions need to ask about this Olympic Association. First of all, there's problems. Before I made my comments on it, before I write on it, I need to know first of all, why the gentleman, before he left, he cried. He shed tears.
Hold on, say that again. The gentleman, before he left, he cried, he shed tears?
Yes, you remember that?
Which gentleman?
I don't remember the gentleman. One of them shed tears.
You mean?
Yeah, when the young lady that's supposed to go, the controversy with her.
Yeah, you mean with the interview that Lacathia Cooper shared on social media, the snippet of the interview?
Yes. And he shed tears. And so I'm wondering why. So there's a lot of questions need to be answered. And I do appreciate Stephen Gardner and Newport, what they have done for us in the Pumpkin Eater. And I'm not going to criticize that. I don't know why they're being criticized. I think Paul and David Thompson Wright need to be examined, would be examine or what based on these athletes. These athletes don't deserve it if it's based on that. They don't deserve that.
Well,
So that needs to be explained, huh?
I think the commentary between Pauline Davis and Miller Weibo, while it's not been widely disseminated by local media, I've seen Eyewitness News carrying that story, right?
Yeah.
I think the global athletics community, a local inquiry or interrogation is warranted, and it's not unreasonable for the Bahamian public to ask for her to clarify her statement.
Yeah, it's warranted, right? She's the mother. She's the mother, but out here, when I look at it, everything has an interpretation. What I say and what you say is interpreted by people. So my interpretation, and I look at my athlete's interpretation, and you look at the bad dealing with the B3H. Question is, who these things goes to?
Okay, so
It's reporting Davis attack. You understand what I'm saying?
is it because what you're saying is exactly what I just said,
Right.
Pumpkin Eater, that it is not unreasonable for the public or
Right.
demand an inquiry, or at the very least for Miss Davis to clarify
Right.
what her statement, given the stature that she holds in the global athletics community.
She had no problem because I think you're a young girl, then I older than you. Do you remember the NBC incident when Bernard was the Czech president?
No, I don't.
Okay, go back to YouTube. She blasted, the Bahamas criticized her. She blasted the Bahamas and organizers on NBC. She did that.
Okay.
It's history.
Right, but why are you referencing this in this conversation, Pumpkin Eater?
No, because it seems like that's why I say I'm waiting for more information for the Pumpkin Eater to write on it. It seems
Pumpkin
like,
Eater, it seems like what? Finish the sentence.
It seems like she pour cold water on Stephen Gardner, and it seems like she poured some serious cold water on Newborn.
Here's the point, though. She didn't call any names.
No, I said same. That's why I said same.
Right,
like,
but Pumpkin Eater,
uh-huh.
I'm going to end the conversation here. Because I'm not sure what it is you're trying to say.
Right, that's why I'm saying, before I write it, Erin Greene. I'm just throwing out the reason. I mentioned the man who cried. And I have some other information.
Pumpkin Eater, I'm the one who's allowed to be cryptic on my show. I could be cryptic, because I got to take the heat. I don't know what it is you're dancing around, but I think I will reiterate it one more time. It is not unreasonable for the public to demand an inquiry as to the operation of the BOC in preparation for the 2024 Olympics. It's not unreasonable to demand that the BOC give the public decision-making leading up to the 2024 Paris Olympics. And it's not unreasonable for the public to ask Ms. Pauline Davis to clarify her statements. But when you say it appears as if she's attacking Weibo or Gardner, it could only appear that way because Gardner responded, because she didn't call anybody's names, right? Let's not confuse the matter. Let's not confuse the matter at all. But I mentioned this Harbor Island all-age school fire and the residents' response to it, because if we look at the protests that popped up, we can see in yesterday's Guardian, we want light and water. Dressed in white, scores of Harbor Island residents marched along the streets of Dunmore Town to protest prolonged utility outages. As they made their way to the island's Bahama Power and Light BPL office, they chanted, "Bryland Unite, we want light." Rock House Hotel and Restaurant managing partner Tainare Roll said that it's becoming increasingly untenable to run a business with water and electricity interruptions. Why are we paying for our light, she said? Why are we paying for our water when we have to go ahead and purchase hundreds of gallons of diesel to fill up a generator? Why do we then have to go and get thousands and thousands of gallons of water for a reverse osmosis system when the government should be providing these resources for us and our people? On top of that, it's frustrating for our staff to come into work every day unable to take a shower, unable to have electricity to cool down before work. It's unacceptable to expect people to work in these conditions. It's actually illegal to expect people to work in these conditions because staff have not bathed. They can't go into the kitchen.
That, and what are you washing your dishes and stuff with? Or even using bathroom and stuff?
Right. Another story, Eleuthera residents will get 50% rebate on power bills. As Eleutherians continue to experience challenges with electricity outages, Minister of Energy and Transport JoBeth Colby Davis announced a 50% rebate for customers on the island. She also called on BPL to, quote, enhance its public engagement strategy, close quotes. Quote, BPL will provide a 50% rebate on the base rate for all residential and commercial customers on Eleuthera for the month of July. I want to stick a pin right there.
Yeah, because I have issues with the press release in general.
Here's my thing. The people that barely had electricity in July. That's why they protesting.
So there's no need to get discount. They have no charge. But no, this is what I want to say. Does the minister have the authority to announce a discount, a rebate? See, we need to analyze that, interrogate that. Does she have an authority to announce that as the government, we plan to give the people of Eleuthera a rebate?
Remember when the alarm was raised, people were concerned that IRCA's authority was being removed, right, in the act? Mm-hmm. And they came by and said, we amended the act, we're not removing IRCA. But the following provision, so like it was 38, right? Mm-hmm. Article 38. It's like Article 39 says, the minister also has the power to do. It is possible, but we need clarity. It's the same thing that's coming up in the GBPC story, right? Headline in today's Guardian, government may take GBPC rate issue to court. Where the question is, who is the authority, right? Who is the authority on the matter?
I plan to have a show on that tomorrow. I hope you'll be here for that too.
Yeah, I'm trying to get to Australia.
I understand.
I need to know where is, like we have the fountain of youth. Mm-hmm. Australia must have the fountain of audacity.
They have audacity now.
Absolutely.
But finish. I want to interrogate this because I don't think the minister should have the authority to give discount. Because if she has, that's a political discount, right? That's not a business discount. That's why you have a managing agency to make decisions. And we know there's no such thing as a free lunch. Mm-hmm. So if you're not paying the 50%, who's paying the 50%?
Right.
Because it doesn't disappear. the energy was used, right? The money was, there's a charge to it. So someone must pay this. So if the people in Eleuthera are not paying this, someone needs to pay in this. And it sounds like I'll be paying it. Like I'm suffering for the ineptitude. Why pass on the bill to me? What I do?
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And I'm supposed to be asking for people to resign because she put the bill on me. Therefore, you need to move.
Yeah, I agree. We are at the end of this hour, Mr. Nuri. I got some more stories on deck. Cost of Abaco shelter more than doubled, DRM official says. Abaco residents are skeptical shelter ready by year's end. 1 year later, Human Rights Committee has no members appointed nor meetings. Voter removal rumors dismissed. And there's lots more to talk about in today's papers, including the tragic loss of Long Island community member in Dean's Hole, Long Island. There's something in there I want to talk about. You've been on the clock with Erin Greene at At the other side of this break, Guardian Radio AM is going to pick up the mantle, and we're going to continue our Wednesday Man Down mashup show where we combine both shows to discuss what's in the news. Thanks for tuning in. And then I got a project messenger I want to talk to you about on air on the other side.
Then I got to spend no money, right?
No, technically no.
If I ain't participating in your project.
I understand.
School fees due.
You guys stay tuned. Guardian Radio,
School soon
96.9 FM.
No project.
The girl, she shake like lightning, and I get struck. They make you the dancing queen, the queen of the belly, yuck. The queen of the belly,
This is Guardian Radio 96.9 FM, Nassau, Bahamas.